Welcome to In My Head. My name is Kelly Williams, and welcome to my very first episode. Um, it took me forever to actively record this. I had bought all the equipment. I had wrote out my first episode. I have done all the research. I was so ready. It's not even funny how ready I was to record this episode. But for some reason, my anxiety and my level of comfort just putting this out there for the internet was just so heightened. And I've been wanting to do this podcast for so long. I've drawn what was need to be drawn for my art. I created my art for the beginning types of the podcast. I have gone through like so many different layers of what I wanted to talk about and have written future podcasts, but I never was able to just like talk into a mic. I just felt like I was going to immediately judge myself, hearing myself, trying to get used to that. And I spent the last month just talking into a mic that wasn't even recording. I spent time and time every week going to voice lessons, getting used to hearing myself sing, hearing myself get out of that comfort zone and just try. And this is me trying, honestly. Oh, Taylor Swift. Oh, period. Like, every time I say that, it just immediately brings me to Taylor Swift. But this is just genuinely me trying. And I had gotten the best advice about a week ago from a podcast that I listened to. And just saying that, like, if it really just like scares you to just post your first episode or post anything in regards to your passions, it's okay. It's not always going to be extremely great. Like, even if you're a perfectionist, which I am very much a perfectionist. If anyone knows me, I am a huge perfectionist. I won't put anything out there unless I feel like myself it is perfect. And it just like it's okay because you're not gonna be where you are a year from now. You're not gonna be this level of professional or profession, whatever. Like a week from now, you're just not gonna be where you were when you first started, and that's like completely okay. It's like that is what you want it to be. You don't want to be you want to look back a year from now and be like, "Wow, that was great. I'm really proud of myself." But like I've gotten so much better from where I first started, which right now I'm just in my room. I'm in my room and I'm on my desk and I'm just sitting there with my little board, my vision board and my little kitty and just like talking. And I think that's okay for right now. I just need to stop making and comparing to myself what other podcasters are doing and just do and just be happy with that. Like that's totally okay. But anyway, my name's Kelly and I do have a little kitty with me right here next to me. His name's Coda. He's a black Mancoon and he is like my bestest friend. Like so sad to say, but he's just like the most cuddly cat ever. And I have like pictures and videos of him just consistently needing to be in my arms like all the time. Like genuinely all the fucking time. And if he doesn't get what he wants, he'll bang on my door like an angry neighbor for you blasting your music too loud. He'll be like, boom, 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 like let me in. And I spoil that child. Really, I really do. I'm 23 and had been thinking about making this podcast for some time. I had originally made a podcast with my junior college about news. And we created this podcast to update students about daily news, about world news, about campus news. And I was just so interested and drawn to it. But I never really got the chance to talk about my topics that I wanted to do, research the topics that I wanted to do because I was so busy with school. I was so busy with having my debate team. I was so busy with so much other stuff, having a job. It just was not in my cards to juggle all of this at once. And I just graduated my bachelor's degree last year. And this was just like nagging on me. It was nagging on me so, 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 so much. I was like, I need to do this. This is something I've been wanting to do. I need to just figure out a way to do it. And that's kind of what this happened. And I was talking to a bunch of my friends and a bunch of people about this podcast. And we kind of just, for some reason, we were all drinking white wine. And we said, what if we just talk about your life? Talk about like your struggles, talk about this like little therapy group basically that we have, where you just tell us these like things that go on with your life, and just why don't you just call it like in your head or something, or just something that talks about you and your brain and how you deal with things and how you've dealt with your story, like your story about where you came from, and your story of your struggle is just so real. And my friends had kind of convinced me to just try. And I am just eternally grateful for them. Even though this was a drunk conversation at like 1 in the morning. I'm eternally grateful for that conversation. And yeah, we just came up with this idea of doing it in my head, and they were just extremely supportive and extremely encouraging when it comes to talking about sensitive topics, talking about that trauma, talking about things, I don't know how many people maybe are able to relate to these things, and I hope that it does reach at least one person when it comes to these topics. But to me, these are just emotional and real conversations that I've had with my friends, and I just want to have with you. Like it's nothing too deep to analyze where we need to go back and forth, but you're more than welcome to go back and forth with me. You can, pause the episode and be like, I need to go call my friends. I need to go talk about this with my friends, and just like, what, like, this is just great. This is a topic that is happening currently with me in my life. And oh my God. And this is just something so like, like, I'm 23, and it like the things about, all the warning signs that adults have told me time and time again. Oh my gosh, like, you have no idea what it's like to be an adult. You have no idea what it's like to pay all these stuff and blah blah blah, the real world. Like it's so true. It's so true. We were just completely shocked once we turned like a certain age, where we're like, oh my God, I can't afford to go get an apartment. Oh my God, I can't figure out what kind of job I want. Oh my God, it's a struggle to get myself to go to the gym. Like there's these certain, like, almost like road bumps you hit in your early 20s, where you're just like, who the hell am I? Who the hell? I've always had school, always had a direction, somebody telling me where to go. I don't now. It's just completely up to me. So, you know, have a conversation with me, have a conversation with your friends. This is kind of what this podcast is all about. Very, very vulnerable conversations I'm going to have too as well. This isn't just about the conversations I have with my friends. This is the conversations that I have with my mind and myself, my mind and me. What happens at 2 a.m. or what happens, 12, and the deeper parts of growing up. This episode is called My Mind and Me. And I just wanted to give you like a quick introduction about who I am, what my mind kind of goes around, and what I really want to talk about in this future, like, episodes. I really want to get to the deeper parts of some struggles that I know a lot of people have, but just have not been able to kind of explain or tell their story or talk about. And one of the biggest conversations that I'm going to have, which you'll see in a future podcast, is how I grew up with this identity and how I grew up being not from America, and exactly how I dealt with that my entire life, how I'm still trying to grow up and still how I'm trying to deal with it, and how it still plays such an influential role in my life. And I know it's going to play such an influential role in my future life too, as well. I know when I have kids, it's going to be such a huge impact for them. I know when I get married, it's going to be a huge impact for my partner. And it's just always played this unfulfilling and also fulfilling role in my life that becomes so confusing. And I've always tried to know more about it, but at the same time, I feel guilty about it. And when I do dive into that podcast, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. But the biggest burden I have with myself is my identity. And it comes with a lot of my thoughts and where I stand in this world, and the people that I see and the people that represent my people are just not positive. It's just so rare to find that positivity in where I come from. And it may not sound like I come from anywhere except America, because I did come here when I was very young, and it just wasn't. I didn't get an accent. I didn't learn the language because they forced English on us. It was such a weird transition, and it's still a weird transition to think about, and I still get stuck on it a lot. So, but most of this time that I identify with is going to be a huge part of my podcast, and as well as a huge part of me. So it's stay tuned for that podcast. It's probably going to be the next couple ones because that is a very vulnerable topic. I do want to post every Friday. I'm going to try to post every Friday. I really am. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to push past this anxiety, push past this fear of putting my voice out there. Thank God I have my friends. Thank God I have my boyfriend to talk to about these problems and talk to this about this podcast. And if you're listening, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate that you took your time out of your day to just listen. So, mwah, big kiss for you. And I really hope that you enjoy this. And I'll see you on my first podcast. Well, not my second podcast, but I'll see you. And welcome to In My Head.